Hello everyone, this is HBJ, and today I'm going to be taking you through the creation of mashups. This is an introductory course for anyone who's thinking or wants to get into making mashups. So we're going to be putting together a very simple mashup. A lot of the times people will work with instrumentals and acapellas. An acapella is essentially the vocals only. In order to get these audio files, you'll either look through your existing library or you might go online to find some stuff. So I'm currently using Virtual DJ Home 7 Free. This is a great software when it comes to testing out combinations and to quickly just put together songs and see if you like it or not. I generally prefer using Virtual DJ as a kind of like introduction tool because you can test out a lot of music. So first, you'll look through combinations of music and all that, and let's say I stumble upon a combination like what you know.
In a few weeks I will get time to realize
and
it's
another
right
instrumental.
before my
Okay, so we're just going to listen to the kind of combination, but first, when it comes to making mashups, it's very important to get it synchronized. Get the acapella and the instrumental in sync. This means having it play at the same speed. So right now, this instrumental is on 142 beats per minute. This is like how many counts are in 1 minute. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. In music structure, very basic music structure, in a 4/4 time signature, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can do the same with an acapella, though sometimes you might want to listen to the original song to be able to count it off. Sometimes it even helps if you're counting off of a drum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, we're going to look at song structure. Essentially, you'll want verses to align with verses and choruses to align with choruses, or if you decide to change up the structure, make sure you have a good reason to and that it sounds nice. But we'll just be going through the very basics of this. So this is 142 beats per minute and this is 139. So in order to get it to this one, I will hit sync on this deck. So I brought the songs into the decks and now I am syncing it up. So now they are both 142 beats per minute. Now we can play it.
In a few weeks I will get time to realize it's right before my eyes, and I can take it if it's what I want to do.
And then we'll just hit pause to just give that a break. So Virtual DJ is good for testing out combinations. However, it's not very intuitive in terms of putting together the final product. I used to hit start recording and I used to mix it live, but now there are other software that can do this far better. We will be looking at FL Studio. FL Studio, well, the version that I'm using is FL Studio 10, and this can be a tricky audio workspace to look at, but once you get the hang of it, things will work out just fine. So remember the instrumental I was just playing? I'm just going to click and drag it into here. Okay, and now you notice how there is this kind of grid-like structure in the back. Remember when I was counting 1, 2, 3, 4? This is essentially the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So, I know that the instrumental is in 142 beats per minute. So up here where it says tempo, like the beats per minute and the tempo, it's essentially the same thing. I'm going to change that to 142. In this case, every audio file that goes into this workspace will snap to 142 beats per minute. Okay? Don't mind what I did there. So 142 beats per minute. It's within good practice to align the beats onto the backing grid. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I press the spacebar to play it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tool. This is the slip tool. I can hold it and I can move it around like that. Essentially, Notice how it is in a larger purple box. This is the clip itself. The waves that you see here is the actual musical data. So up here, this is the snap tool. So you can have it on none, which gives you a very free-flowing kind of snap thing. But I mostly like to have it on half step for this. So I'm going to zoom in by holding Control and using the scroll wheel to scroll in. Now I can use the slip tool to bring it so that these counts, or wherever the line gets thicker, this is like a 1, 2, 3, 4 count, I can bring it to one of the backing lines of the grid. Now, in order to temporarily deactivate snap, hold Alt and move it around freely. Okay? So now that's on a beat. I'm going to zoom out by using Control and scroll wheel. And a lot of this stuff, when it comes to navigating, it just takes time and a bit of experimentation. Essentially, all of the tools you need are up here. I'm going to use the pencil tool. This is the very quintessential tool of navigating around and kind of like putting down audio clips and so on. So we're just going to look at the bars and the counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And see, look how this part is quite thick. This is the kick drum coming in. So that's one way to look at it. Now we're going to bring in the acapella. This is what you know. So here's the acapella. I've brought it into the workspace. However, this software doesn't know that this isn't actually in 142 beats per minute. It's actually in 139 beats per minute. So what I'm going to do is double click on this, right click on time, go to auto detect, and then I go to type in beats per minute. So it's asking you, what is the beats per minute of the audio file? It's 139. So I'm just going to hit enter, and all like that, it has stretched. Because of physics, however, when you stretch an audio file, the pitch of the audio will increase. So it'll sound like a more masculine voice will sound a lot higher, or vice versa with a feminine voice. So in order to keep the pitch, I'll go to click on this button that says resample and press Pro Default. Excuse me. I must kind of warn you, when it comes to attaining this software, it's always very careful to be, you should be very careful when it comes to attaining it. Whether it's through, legitimate means, preferably, because, sometimes these fake softwares can mess up your computer. So I'm using the scroll wheel to move in and out, and then here's a bar. I can use it to pan through the song. So I'm going to just play it and then insert the vocals and listen to it. Now, this is a little bit too loud. In terms of increasing and decreasing the volume, you can double click on the clip, and this knob right here, this is the volume. So I can decrease the volume slightly, and whatever kind of adjustment you do, it'll appear on the top left corner. So I've decreased the volume here, and let me increase the vocal volume. Essentially, when it comes to getting the volumes right, this is called mastering. It's important to make it sound like an actual song that you'd probably hear just regularly, which means that you can hear every word of the vocals and the instrumental isn't too loud or in your face, and vice versa. It's very important to have a good balance of instrumental and vocal.
In a few weeks, I will get time to realize it's right before my eyes and I can take it.
And I think just decrease the instrumental a tiny bit more.
In a few weeks, I will get
Tad bit more.
In a few weeks, I will get time to realize
A little
it's
bit more.
right before my eyes and I can take it.
Okay, so now we've kind of volume balanced it. Song structure is also very important as well. A lot of times, the mashups that you might hear do not follow a certain structure, and those aren't always the best mashups to listen to. So let's, when it comes to alternating vocals and so on, sometimes it's you can use the instrumental version of a song, and you can also use the original version of a song. So right now I've clicked and dragged the full version, which includes the vocals of the original song, of the song Midway Drive. And similar to what we did before, I'll use the slip tool and I will just align it so that these shapes align. These are the waveform and they align. Okay, now I've put each one in its own track. Right now I don't want to have the vocals playing, so I'm going to hit this green button. This is mute.
In a few weeks, I will get
Right? And my volume, I decreased it that much, and let's just copy the value. Right click on the volume, copy value, and let's double click on our regular audio. Right click on volume and paste value. So now they're the same volume. That's just a little tip, but you might not have to use it for now. Essentially, if you've been following this, if you just want to get into mashups and just dip your feet in the water a bit, stick with Virtual DJ. And then when you want to actually start taking it a little more seriously, then bring it into FL Studio. Remember to always have fun with it.
in a few weeks.
Okay, now let's listen to the rest of the song.
If it's what I am leaving, and this is starting for my eyes, and I can taste it. It's my sweet beginning, and I can tell just what you want.
That's actually the chorus, but the instrumental didn't get to the chorus yet. So let's cut the audio. Let's cut the vocals right here. Let's just cut it. Okay? And let's move this away on the side so it just ends like that. And let's say we want to interject some of the original vocals. Let's say we want to put it in here. So let's just try to do that. When it comes to cutting, you can click and drag it, or you can hold shift and just press it down. Then go to your pencil tool and you right click to delete. Okay? Now the nice thing about FL Studio is because we aligned it to the backing grid, now we can move around this audio. So we just click and drag it, and then we make sure that it sounds right with whatever structure we're doing. Okay, so let's also trim this a little bit as well. Let's trim the instrumental because we don't want to have the instrumental and the regular song going off at the same time, or else you're going to have some distortion and some weird audio stuff happening. So let's listen to this. So now we've essentially just edited the song. Okay? And then sometimes it's good to mute the vocals and listen to the transition. That's a little bit rough, so let's try doing this instead. It's just kind of like listening out. What's the most seamless transition? That sounds okay.
It's my sweet beginning.
Okay, so now we're going to have this play. So there's the chorus. So for the instrumental, I know that the chorus is right here. So I'm going to align it again so that we can interject the chorus of the other song. So let's try this. Let's remove this. And let's cut that a little bit sooner so we don't have that voice. And now let's bring in the original vocals.
And I can tell just what you want. You don't want to be alone. You don't want to be alone. And I can't say it's what you know, but you known it the whole time. Yeah, you known it the whole time.
And let's interject some vocals here. And it's just going in and kind of playing with it. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that. And then let's cut and delete this part. Okay, and let's just cut it there. Okay, so now we're going to go pen tool, right click, erase. So now we've created a really basic mashup. Now, it's not only about just vocals on top of instrumentals. Sometimes you can bring in other instruments as well. You can bring in other instruments and you can, like, you know, just play with it. You can even put two songs on top of each other. So I took the lead guitar from the song What You Know, which is the song I'm using for the vocals. I'm going to double click on the guitar, right click on time, auto detect, type in beats per minute, and then remember that What You Know is 139 beats per minute. We're going to type in 139, and then we want to keep the pitch, so we go to resample and we go to Pro Default. And now it is currently stretching. It is stretching to the project file's tempo, which is 142. So we're taking a 139 speed and we're going to 142. So now we can do some instrumental stuff.
It's my sweet beginning.
That's a bit too much on the left ear.
It's my sweet.
Don't mind what I just did. That's panning. That's a more advanced technique in mashups. So, see, I'm just going to increase the volume a little bit so we can have this. We have different instruments going on.
Sweet beginning.
And then let's say I want to cut the guitar somewhere here, pencil, erase. Okay, and the nice thing about this is that, you know, to have it aligned to the backing grid, that's quite important. And then let's say we want to put the guitar at the end as well, we can. Okay, and let's say we want to have like that end on a tail note, so we'll just kind of align it, and then we'll just kind of trim it so that it lines up like that. Okay, in reality I'd finish the whole song, but that's essentially it. And then once you're done with the mashup, go to File, Export as a WAV file for lossless high quality, or an MP3 file for more friendly, you know, downloading on your phone and stuff. Generally, it's a smaller audio file. Let's say I want to render this as an MP3, and then you can save it wherever you want. Okay, so that's the basics of that. So this mashup that I put together is What You Drive. It's also on my channel, but I hope this helped you out. But really, for now, focus on virtual DJ and finding that combination that you like, or even just experimenting and playing around with it, because you know, you can put together some cool stuff. When it comes to extracting anime acapellas, however, there's another tutorial for that, and if you want to get to that part, you know, like if you want to get to that point, I can show you. Just let me know. For example, you know, you can find combinations. Okay, so that's kind of the end of this basic tutorial. Shoot, I went 20 minutes, but you know what? I think I gave you enough information to be able to start. So feel free to send me any audio file you're working on, and if you want feedback or help with stuff. Also, I should note, when it comes to music, not every song is going to work together. That's because songs have different keys, and that requires music theory to understand. But that's more of an advanced technique that I'll be showing you. For now, just go with your gut feeling. And if you want to take mashups more seriously, feel free to let me know, and I'll help you out with that. Okay? Alright, take care. See ya.